My heart yearns for you, Reese. Many love songs have I written, and sing them loudly I will. Loudly sing. That's a promise.
We were young. It's not a news story by any means, but maybe with a different spin. Maybe you've heard it before. Man versus himself. Man versus machine. Man versus the world. Mankind versus me. For 9.5 years we were outcasts, riding the fence between a secular fad and a Christian phenomenon. We never quite belonged in either place. We were despised and loved, battled and embraced, overhyped and underplayed, but never forgotten. This is the story of what was the life of 9 people for 9 albums and more than 9 years, the rise and fall of 5 Iron Frenzy.
American Kryptonite, yeah. The icon of our time, solution to our modern crimes. His trigger finger clicks remotes as carbohydrates slowly bloat. Not fragile or brittle, he's seeking an acquittal. No scruples, no meekness, he has but one great weakness. All the world must have a price. Save yourself from sacrifice. Everything will end alright. American Kryptonite. His mighty hands will hardly fail. His intellect is barely frail. He moves his lips in perfect sync, demanding an espresso drink. With passion, he searches. He'll make another purchase. Familiar, you know him. He's saying that you owe him. All the world must have a price. Save yourself from sacrifice. Everything will end alright. American Kryptonite. It was like the manifest destiny all over again. Except instead of taking and consuming everything in their past for God, they did so with the same fervor and sense of entitlement for their new God, themselves. Buy, take, break, throw it away. 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 Buy, take, break, throw it away.
So Reese and I met. Reese and I were the first 2 people to meet, and we met at a church youth group at a church that both our parents were going to, and it would have been the summer before my freshman year of high school, the summer before Reese's 8th grade year, and we actually met and we bonded over a common love of the Pee Wee Herman show. We started talking about music, sharing music, and then one day Reese was like, we should start a band. And so he had a friend named PJ who was selling a guitar. It was a PV, I don't remember what kind. And then Reese, I think, found in the classifieds a PV Patriot bass guitar. And that was kind of the start of our first band. In the very, very early days, we had a band called Naked Fish. Naked Fish did nothing.
That youth group helped 4 members that would later go on to become very influential in the early days of 5 Iron Frenzy. Keith Herrig, who played bass. Me, Reese Roper, the singer. Larry Landis, our future sound guy. And Mark Denny, who we called Fievel or Feisch, who later played bass for the Smiley Kids.
We met Micah through an ad that we took out, put it up at bulletin boards around town.
There was a flyer that was hanging there. It said something to the effect of looking for a guitar player for a polka slash metal slash rap slash hardcore slash, and like it had like this endless list of like genres.
Micah answered the ad, and we were looking to start a heavy metal band influenced by people like Anthrax and the Crucified and stuff like that. And that band was called Exhumator, and Micah's brother Nate was our original drummer, and he moved away to go to college, if I remember correctly. That's why he moved. And we decided at that point to take Exhumator's sound from a strictly like straight ahead kind of thrash metal sound to a more industrial, heavy metal influenced sound. We were influenced by bands like Ministry and Circle of Dust, people like that. We bought a drum machine. Reese and Micah learned how to program it. I never really did.
I was dating Stephanie at the time, and she was going to school at UNC in Greeley, and I was going to art school in Denver. We would sometimes go to Campus Crusade, and that's where I met Reese. And Reese had a band called Exhumator. We shared a fondness for the Crucified and some other Christian metal bands. But, you know, we became friends, and Reese asked, you know, if I'd be interested in joining. And at the time, I'd been playing guitar for, I think, a year. And so, of course, you know, the idea of being in a band was very exciting.
Exhumator recorded one demo, well, 2 demos, but only one we released. So Reese and Scott and I were living in an apartment in a suburb of Denver called Aurora. We had at least 5 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment, maybe more. That made our rent, if I remember correctly, $62.25 a person per month, which was nice, but it wasn't nice to have 5 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment. And when we moved out of that apartment, when our lease expired, we rented a house. It was a 3.5-bedroom house, 4-bedroom house kind of, with a basement. It was cool because we were able to practice. Because we were all living together, rent was cheap enough that we didn't need, you know, super high-paying jobs. If I remember right, we each paid $300 a month to live there. And it was gross and dirty.
I was pretty much a brand new Christian at the time, and I was looking for anybody to hang out with. I didn't really have anybody to hang out with, so I went to the show, and I saw Feisch in the front of the very front while the Prayer Chain was playing, and he's wearing a Crucified t-shirt, and I loved the Crucified, so I went up and talked to him, and he said, hey, you know, and I had mentioned that I was a drummer, and he said, hey, you know, my friends are in a band called Exhumator, and, you know, they're looking for a drummer. So I called the next day, and I talked to Scott on the phone, and he had already heard about me. And he said, well, yeah, why don't you come down, you know, tomorrow night, and we'll practice and see how it goes. And came down, and it was sort of a makeshift audition. It was pretty easy, and I got the job right away. So I wouldn't even call it an audition. It was more like just hanging out and jamming, you know. So, well, I had started playing for Exhumator, and I was playing to tracks, and I had never done that before. It was really difficult, and I'd never practiced to a metronome or a click or anything like that. I was terrible. I kept getting off the beat, and we had started talking about starting a side project, a pop punk side project, and that had just sort of morphed into this ska thing.
I think everybody in Exhumator was listening to all kinds of different stuff. We always listen to all kinds of different stuff, but I think that some bands like NoFX and Skankin' Pickle, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, Operation Ivy. At one point, Scott had written a kind of punk song, and we briefly thought about starting a side project of Exhumator that would have been just a straight-ahead punk side project. And I guess that's kind of what officially became Five Iron, because there was a point where Scott had put a little bit of ska guitar in one of those songs, and he was like, I know a trumpet player who comes to a bunch of our shows anyway, we could ask him to play.
I went to the same church as Scott, and he would talk about the band, and I would go to shows because he was in the band, and with my cousins and stuff, and we had a lot of fun going to him and stuff. Scott knew that I played trumpet, and he asked if I wanted to play in a song, and then ended up playing more ska music and more trumpet in the songs. And
we played our first show at, what was the name of that place? Some coffee house, some Christian coffee house. Outer Limits, is that right? People seem to glom on to the Five Iron thing more than the Exhumator thing, and it was more fun. Exhumator was real angry music and real aggressive, sort of like Fear Factory type heavy metal.
I think that show kind of confirmed what a lot of us were feeling, that Five Iron was the band that we were going to find more fulfillment with, and that Exhumator was not so good.
I had to wake up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and I sure am tired. And then after that, I have to come home, and maybe I'll have enough time to take a shower, and then I have to go to Greeley and reset on my pedal again.
You're messing up the camera, brother. Sheesh.
I was at a show in Greeley, and as I was often at Exhumator shows, and Andy Verdecchio ran up to me and said, "We heard you play saxophone. Do you love the Lord?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "Be in our band."
Action. It's ready. We're taking off. Just about. There's Reese. Here we go. Reese, ready to start. Ready to go. Ready. I am the naked man. I am the poopy man. They call me poopy man.
So the members of Five Iron, and Five Iron was officially formed, but Dennis was not yet a member, and Leonore was not yet a member, but we had talked to her. We all drove to Cornerstone, which is a big Christian music festival in Illinois. Micah could not make it on that trip. I believe he had family obligations. And so, but the members that could make it, we went out there, and we weren't necessarily expecting to play at this music festival. We weren't booked or anything like that.
That was a fun trip. I remember it rained most of the way out there.
Cornerstone 95, a couple months after I graduated high school.
I got to know Andy a lot better because I drove with him most of the time.
Turn them out there, babes. Turn them out there, Racy. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. There we go.
so scary.
It's 6:15 in the morning, and we just slept here. We just slept.
This place sucks. Ah!
4 hours, and the first hour was, oh, that's an uncomfortable position. Oh, that's an uncomfortable position. Oh, that's a really uncomfortable position.
Scott, get your...
How the heck am I gonna sleep?
You should have
That's
come.
an uncomfortable position.
You should have come and slept with us. It was really comfy. I'll go show you guys where we slept. There's Reese's fine automobile. Here comes Reese. He's very happy this morning. Reese, are you happy this morning? Reese is overjoyed to be here this morning. I'll show you where. This is where me and Reese and Nathaniel slept. Okay. Nathaniel slept right here. Check that out, right? And I'm Keith, by the way. I slept right there. Check out that spot, huh? And then
What'd you call?
Reese slept right there on the picnic table.
Ow.
Weren't we cold? Well, it's no colder than in your cars.
No, because we had heat for
A good hour. You had heat.
This place sucks.
You had heat for a good hour.
There is an international window factory called Pella Windows. I did not realize it was based in a town called Pella, Iowa. I thought it was somebody's last name maybe or something like that. But on the way to Cornerstone one year, we were driving through this town and it was called Pella. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's named like after the window factory.
Look at this. Here's something new. We've never seen this before. The Pella Corporate Factory Headquarter Clock and Temperature Gauge.
Brad.
Look at that. That rocks.
Look at that thing before it.
The wind sculpture. I don't think that was there last year.
Gosh, Scott, don't do that.
Over here we have a worshiper at the Pella Corporation corporate headquarters. I wonder if the police have been called yet.
Well, we're like in between Des Moines and Pella, and Reese has been pulled over by the law.
The law.
Baby, I'm amazed that Reese got pulled over. No insurance, no registration. Actually,
have registration
wait,
either?
No, he's got it registered. That's right. I forgot about that. No, Reese has got such pretty hair. Reese is now inside the police car. This is so crazy. Dude, if Reese gets arrested, what are we going to do? Love you. Brother, yes, hallelujah.
Got out of the car.
Getting back in the car.
He's turning his lights off.
This is not a dramatization, ladies and gentlemen. This is live action. It's going. It's going. Hallelujah, brother, yeah.
We're going to Chicago.
It's 120 miles to Chicago.
We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Get it?
We're in Chicago.
See, now here's the deal. We're in Chicago, right? Here we are in Chicago. We find Sears Tower. They want $450. Just take the elevator to the top.
So you're gonna do it, Keith?
Sure.
And Chaka? I'll go.
It's zero visibility right now.
And we're doing it anyway. We're gonna spend $450. The world's largest building. They warned us that there was zero visibility. Now, as you can see, when they say zero visibility, they certainly do mean it.
Dude, this is just typical of what would happen.
Oh my gosh. They're jumping because the elevator is going down. Oh, my ears are popping. Oh.
Larry, rock. Larry, rock. Larry is standing. Larry is the embodiment of rock. Look at him.
Larry was our sound guy at the beginning. He is the guy that just had the passion to just hang out and do it, and be down to take a long trip and go somewhere and do sound. And he did all of our local shows.
We are now leaving Chicago.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yes, that's correct. This is the second morning in a row that Scott has woken us up at 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
We played at this, they have a skate ramp, or they did. I haven't been there in a couple of years. I don't know if it's still there, but they had this skate ramp kind of in the middle of the festival grounds. And there was an electrical outlet there. And because there was electricity, bands would set up and play. And back then in '95, bands would just set up and play there all the time. I think in more recent years, they've had to crack down on it quite a bit because there's so many bands that want to play there. But we set up and we played, and it was a good time. People liked it, we had fun, and I think we were all just kind of expecting to go back home after that and go back to our jobs. And there were a couple record labels that came up and talked to us after that. One was Flying Tart Records.
We were getting ready to leave, and there was a 5-minute walk stage, and this kind of scruffy, punky-looking kid came up and asked me, "Hey, can we play on your stage?" And we were actually just on the way out, so I said, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I think the stuff is still there. You can do whatever you want." And I just kind of walked away. It turned out later on that happened to be Reese Roper.
See this? I'm using these today. What are you gonna do, shave it? You just cut your hair. How do you feel? It took 3 years, 4 years. There's Reese's hair.
He was working in this hotel as head of customer service for the night shift, and he was a frustrated musician who wanted desperately to make music.
I remember I was going to this church, and Mike Sayers was my pastor, and he said, "I met some guys that are going to this church now, and they're playing a show." I think the first guy I talked to was Andy, and then the next guy I met was Keith, and it came up that I played a horn, and they got excited because they were trying to put together a horn section. And also, amazingly, it turned out that you guys were living and rehearsing like 3 blocks from where I live, so it was all kind of ridiculous. So the following Tuesday, I showed up at a rehearsal.
I was really bummed at first because I was like, I was young, and I was like, this guy's not punk rock, he's gonna change the vibe. But honestly, looking back, that is the best person that God could have chosen for a few reasons. Firstly, because musically he's amazing. He knows what he's doing, he can play many instruments, and he really helped polish our sound. Secondly, if it weren't for Dennis joining, I wouldn't have met Mike Sayers, and I wouldn't have eventually helped, form Scum of the Year Church. So awesome to have met Dennis, and yeah, usually my first impression when I don't like people, they end up being the people I love the most.
We were touring with Black Eyed Siva on the five Bucks in a Blanket tour, and we came to Denver to play a show. Apparently there was supposed to be some opening local band that was supposed to open for us, and we're like, all right, and turns out they were playing another show and that they were actually going to play last, so we were kind of thinking, well, who the heck is some opener now going to headline, kind of take the headline slot. And so anyway, it turned out it was 5 Iron. I remember thinking, this is one of the coolest bands I've ever heard. After the show, we actually didn't get to talk much because everybody was kind of moving along, but we immediately, actually on the way out of town, before we even got anywhere, I was at a payphone, and I called Frank, and I said, "Frank, you have to sign this band that I just saw."
We had all taken time off from work, and we went down to Albuquerque, and our friend Joey Belleville, who was in the Echoing Green, who is still in the Echoing Green, he put us up.
We were looking for someone to produce a demo for us, and Joey said that he would do it. So we drove down to Albuquerque and went in a studio there and recorded what would have been Five Iron's first demo or album. And something happened. I don't know if anybody knows exactly what happened, but it basically amounts to the studio went out of business and we never saw our tapes. So we never got, like, we had finished. All that was left to do was mix, and the tapes are gone. Nobody really knows where to this day. But through that process, we became good friends with Joey Belleville.
This was, you know, for all practical purposes, my first, you know, experience recording, and it was really eye-opening to me. Like, I think I felt like the band was a lot better than it was, and then when we got in the studio, it's when I kind of heard things more objectively, and I thought, wow, we're not good. And, you know, I think that was around the time that I kind of assumed that role of being, I don't know, kind of the band. And I didn't mean to be, but like I was so shocked and appalled that we didn't sound better than we did when we recorded. And I remember being really upset with both Leonore and Brad, and you know, I felt like they ought to practice more. And I mean, I really was kind of nervous about it. I guess I didn't really know how to be sensitive and also try and get people to improve. And you know, it only got worse from there for a while when we would record, but it was good. It was definitely a good experience. I mean, I think that it was necessary for us to grow, but it was not a fun experience at the time.
When I was 12, I was in a play at our church camp, and I played a character who was a boy, and our youth pastor thought it was really funny, and I was a tomboy. So the character's name was Jeff, and our youth pastor told everyone that they should call me Jeff. And so when I met Micah, he knew me as Jeff the Girl, and that's how I got that name.
Well, it was the basement of a house. It smelled like mold. It was gross. I'm pretty sure someone had died down there. I'm 6'3", and the ceiling was about 6'2". And you guys always made me stand where the light bulb was. It always burned my head.
The Mercury Theater shows, I miss that place. That was a lot of fun. I mean, the sound was always good, and we kind of cut our teeth there. The openings for like the Pie Tasters and MU330, Less Than Jake, it made me feel like the band was more legitimate than simply playing the church shows, which were, you know, every bit as important for us.
Flying Tart was the first label to approach us. He said he was interested in signing us, and we would ask to see a contract, and he'd be like, I'll get you one out by the end of the week, and it wouldn't come. But I think by that point we had just given up on Flying Tart, because it seemed like even though they said they were interested, they weren't ready for whatever reason.
That May, we were invited to play in Southern California. We were to play a morning show with Meal Ticket, a band we had befriended the following October. Then we would drive across Orange County to another show, the Hanson's 500, where we were to showcase for Alarma Records. That morning I took the last final for that semester of college, and we piled into our new van, a 1991 GMC Safari, built to hold 7, but for 5 Iron Frenzy, it often held 8 or 9.
We were talking to a record label that was involved in the show, and it was a fairly big show that we got invited to play. And our first real big show, I guess. Had a minivan and then this tiny little car that got crushed.
This is Chaka's car. She got hit by a semi. The cops are having donuts while I'm freaking out. You see, my car is totaled right now. Oh. Hey, I am the coolest guy in the band, cause everyone else is freaking retard.
It's a shame this didn't happen at Winchell's.
I know.
They'd already be here.
It's a shame that it didn't happen where?
Winchell's.
It's a shame it didn't happen in Pella. They'd already be here if it happened in Pella.
Jeff is the coolest girl in the band, cause everybody else is a guy.
Do you want to hear a song I wrote?
Sure.
I am the coolest guy in the band, cause everyone else is a freaking retard. Are you in California?
No, I'm in Nevada. You're in California.
There's the state line.
Here's the state line right here. Whoa.
Nevada? California.
I've got a cheek on each side.
Ho ho ho. Okay, we made that up. Are you gonna start gambling right now? Spending all your money?
All of my $6 that I have left to my name, I'm gonna spend on
That's the $6 right
Whiskey
there.
Pete's. On Whiskey Pete's.
We're at the drummer for Meal Ticket's house.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Chewbacca. Chewbacca is my co-pilot.
That's unnecessary filming, Reese.
It's human. Stick my head in the water.
So we got there, we were really excited, and before the show we went into this room to pray. And we prayed in this room, and apparently during our prayer they made an announcement, no stage diving. I think we played 4 songs and they cut the power on us because one of us stage dove.
This is our trip. Man, our trip. California.
I don't want to see your mouth again, buddy. No!
You gotta record.
Hi, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. It's so windy. Watch how windy it is.
Wow.
Whoa! Okay. Sure, it's hot. It's hot out there, but it sure is cool in here. Oh, it's so hot.
It's not cool in here at all.
Cool in here, man. We are the coolest guys in the band, cause Reese is a really freaking tard. I can feel the sweat coming from my anus.
It's really hot.
My butt is sweating like a pig, baby. Here we are, our adventures of Earthworm Jim begin in Bakerstown, just outside of California. We're still inside California. We're still inside California. And it's called Baker, California, not Bakertown. Baker's butt, California. You want him to touch his tongue!
I can't really try to camera. I'll try. So dry. Oh, that was gross.
This was something new to us, driving. In fact, we drove 700 miles to play 2 shows, to pretend like we were on tour. It was the first of many hundreds of thousands of miles, and something we could have only done when we were young.
We recorded a 7-inch record, vinyl record, called It's Funny But Not Very Creative, which would become 5 Iron's first official release. There were 3 songs on it. We recorded that in the basement and bedrooms of the house that several of us were living in. We were renting in Capitol Hill area of Denver, Colorado. Printed up 500 of them, took them on what was 5 Iron's first tour, which was our second trip going to Cornerstone, and by this point we had the full solid lineup.
My first impression of Cornerstone was interesting because a whole group of us from Denver went together. So we had about 4 or 5 friends, and we stayed in the backyard in tents at first at Reese's family's house, which was not so good because we were loud.
We were all up, and they had one of those citronella candles, you know, that keep the mosquitoes away. And we were messing with the wax in it or something. And Reese's uncle, it was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing. If you guys don't stop f***ing around with that candle, I'm gonna come down there and I'm gonna kick all your asses. And we're like, sorry. Put the candle out and we all went to bed.
The first year we played Cornerstone was not really that cool at first because other people, Supertones played at the same time but in a different place, and so a lot of people kept saying, oh, you're the Supertones, that ska band I heard about, the first ska band to get signed, you're awesome. And we were like, no, we're not Supertones, we're 5 Iron. And then they'd get all this hype because some other label wanted to check us out and wanted us to play, so we'd get to play again, and there'd be more hype. Oh, suddenly, gather all the band, we gotta get together, we're playing a show.
There was definitely a buzz about it, and it felt good, it felt exciting. We were all kind of amazed by it. And I think the last thing was that they finally did a show in the Alarma tent where they actually had us play after the Supertones or something like that. And that show was ridiculous because by that point I feel like the kids were foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, that year was crazy. That was the time. I mean, you know, we'd been building up a lot of momentum at home the preceding year, and you know, I think we definitely made an impact in Denver, but it was Cornerstone of '96 where I felt like we were really kind of on the threshold of something special.
Red light.
And really there's nothing cool left to say except for check out this rosary, it glows in the dark. I don't know, you probably can't see that it glows in the dark, but if it's really dark, it glows. And I'm wearing my maid uniform, and I'm a Mexican maid named Consuela.
We kept asking for a contract from Alarma and it kept not coming, and so I think that time just kind of ran out, and by that point we were talking to 5 Minute Walk, and we asked 5 Minute Walk for a contract and they sent us one, so we signed it.
I remember Frank just basically threw you guys in the studio and we just started recording, and I think we tracked we did the whole album in 12 days. It was a good experience because it really, I think that's really when some of the band dynamics and personalities really came forward. Not necessarily good or bad ways, but people really started to know each other's identity during that recording process, and some of that was painful and difficult, but it was good because it was the basis for which they, I know Five Iron was able to establish their relationships after that, because there were some really tough, difficult times.
In October, we returned to Albuquerque to record our first video. It was made on a shoestring budget by director Brandon Dickerson and a lot of help from our friends.
Really a lot of good memories living together in the house, in the band house. That was my first, living experience outside of my parents' house, and a lot of fun, of course, because it's just a bunch of guys being idiots and staying up late and eating whatever we want and, playing music and doing whatever in the house. But it was a really good place to be too. Really good people, they're really encouraging guys. It was a really good place to be right out of high school, and I couldn't imagine doing anything different,
One of my memories from the first tour was the first time we played in Kansas City at the New Earth. It was so weird to be out of our usual circle. Like, when you play shows in Denver, all the kids in the crowd. It's like that Space Girl dancer and like all those crazy kids that we know, and we know their names. It was weird playing the Flowery song and the crowd started singing back. And we almost like messed up. All of us looked at each other like, what is this? They know it. That was really cool.
It's our first real road show, and I thought we were gonna die. The band's gonna break down. We're not gonna have money. It's snowing outside, and then we showed up, and this guy Sheldon he took us in and put on this amazing show, and all these kids knew the words, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
The record had just come out. We were 9 hours away from our home, and we opened with a Flowery song, if I remember right. And as soon as the first words came in, the whole crowd was singing, and I could hear them better than I could hear Reese.
Put that away, man!
This is Dennis eating a sandwich in St. Louis. Reese's head is in the way. Hi, Jeff. What do you think about St. Louis?
No comment.
We're in St. Louis, Missouri.
It's our second show of the tour.
Our second show of the tour. We're gonna play some songs.
I've already filmed some, Brad. I filmed some.
Woo! Brad and Jeff have fun.
That's cool.
That's what it's all about, man! You do it!
Micah, what did you think of our show in Antioch, Illinois?
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Sweat like a mug.
Sweat like a mug. Not like Kansas City.
No, worse than Kansas City.
Worse than Kansas City?
What is, dude?
All the way down.
Man, dude, that's bad.
I'm signing something and I lost my voice.
It is Michael's face, Robbie, Ruby, Roopa Loopa.
They're over there, and you can get their autograph. Okay. Right there, all in a room.
All right.
So I played like crap. That's what I was saying. I played like crap. Watch this. Seeing how Scott's been playing like crap all over this tour. Oh man!
Well, you know, I never intended to, you know, become the primary songwriter or anything. I just started hearing songs and getting excited about them, and then I, you know, became more and more prolific, I guess. And I don't know at what point it was kind of assumed that that was my role, but that's, I don't know, that's just kind of how it worked out, I guess.
Dude, we should get the tambourine inside here from now on. Pack it in here. Shut up. Do you need a hug?
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Fogging like a dog. And it's fogging like a dog. Whoa, dude! Whoa, dude, it's foggy, dude! 5 Iron Frenzy steam room. Fog everywhere. This is our first key. You can kind of see it. You can't fully experience though.
Carmen takes a tanning bed.
It tastes like that smoke.
It tastes nasty! It tastes the fog. The fog tastes gross.
See, Carmen takes a tanning bed on tour. We just bring our steamer.
Tastes minty.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Tell us about Louisville. Louisville.
L-O-U-V. Louisville. V-U-L-L. Louisville.
Enter at rear. Oh, I mean 5 Iron Frenzy trademark.
You are my friend!
What?
Tell me about how hardcore you are!
I'm not, but they're hardcore.
Guys, not me, are you hardcore? So hard for that.
You're hurting people. Locals.
Yesterday she lost.
Food is food.
We're in Texas.
How do you know?
Because I'm messing with it.
I'm on tour now and I'm having fun! Yeah! Woohoo!
I have to pee and no one will pull over.
What else is new, Jeff?
That's all that's new. Thanks.
What's happening now, Scott?
Humping.
No.
It is.
Hump.
I built it. Like, remember, you and I, we drove up to like the mountains, and some guy was selling this horse trailer. So it's built like a fortress. I mean, it's heavy. And then, in my divine wisdom, I decided to partition it off with like inch-thick plywood on the inside. And so by the time I'd built it out, I think the trailer itself weighed like 2,000 pounds.
Well, yeah, I remember he's gonna feel bad. We hired a driver. He had to drive our gear from Dallas to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we had like a day to travel, and we were gonna fly there, and he was gonna meet us there with the gear, and he left the Denny's like way late, and basically drove straight for like, I think it was like 36 hours or something like that. It was a long drive. And he was trying to stay awake. He was popping like NoDoz and like drinking a lot of coffee and just basically drugging himself up on caffeine. And something happened. There's still debate on that. And anyways, our trailer got smashed.
Hey, you guys are probably like, I mean, some of you guys are still going like, this isn't the Super Tones. But then some of you guys are also going, where's that girl that's in their band? Well, her name is Jeff. She plays saxophone and she had to go home for school. So she's been home all week.
When we first started touring, I would have to leave because I was in school. So I remember some of the best shows I didn't get to go to.
Hey, thanks a lot for coming out, you guys, and thanks to What and WindZipper. Especially thanks to WindZipper because they're letting us use their equipment because ours is dead in Charlotte.
Stage South was, I don't know if it was a Korean church or just a little church, but it was a church we used to play kind of by Hamden and Federal in Denver, and we would get it rocking. We would rock it so hard that they'd have to put 2x4s to hold up the floor from the basement.
Like one of my favorite shows ever was Bored as Usual in Denver. And it was one of the first shows, I think we were opening for Screw 32 or something like that. Kids knew what we were about and they weren't into it. I guess some that were there. And so there was definitely some animosity about our presence. And I got hit with a 9-volt battery that got thrown on stage, and there were people spitting at us and all that stuff. I remember totally kicking ass in that show and just giving it to them. And we played an amazingly tight show, and by the end of it, they were quiet about they were into it, and they're giving us love. And I thought that was pretty awesome.
So, how did you get your name, Five Iron Frenzy? What does it mean exactly?
It means nothing. Actually, on tour, it's mostly shows like this for like a Christian audience. Before we signed with 5 Minute Walk, we did primarily secular shows, and the response was good. We had a few instances where we'd get heckled if like we said something about our faith, but for the most part, it's been a good response. And actually, we look to kind of start playing more secular shows again, so.
And therein laid our greatest problem. 5 Iron was always locked in some struggle for legitimacy that we could never quite obtain in the Christian marketplace. Our record company never understood that we had cut our teeth playing club shows, and so they kept pulling on us to play the better paying church shows. They were usually bigger and almost always edifying, but the real question was it ministry? And more importantly, was it where we belonged?
A pee bottle is when you're stuck in a van for 8 hours trying to drive to the next show, and you don't want to spend any moment to stop and pee to waste from trying to get to the next show. And you just use whatever receptacle might be around in the van. And then they stay around the van for a few days.
There is this place in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was the beginning of July, which Florida is not cool at any point in time. It's hot, but especially at the beginning of July, really hot. And we played this show in what used to be a Chinese restaurant.
We were pretty much in the kitchen playing out to the crowd.
And we were all so hot. I was leaning against the wall so I wouldn't pass out.
Blisteringly hot. The floor was like slick from sweat. I think I got tunnel vision, like almost blacking out probably 4 or 5 times during the set.
It was hot, real hot, but really fun. Kids going crazy, good times.
It was just miserable, and then we had to get in our van and go to Cornerstone from Florida to middle of Illinois that night.
Hot? Hey, open that back door again. Hey, we got water. Water. We don't want you guys to die of heat stroke or anything.
Hey, last time we played here, in this very room, it was January. Remind us not to come back again unless it's January.
Sweaty.
And so we got back in the van for what would be the first of many hot summer tours. We would bounce between the Christian festivals and the shows that our label would book us on in between, just to make up the space.
They laughed at me one year, said I was reaching for the moon, but you came through, and now they'll have to change their tune. Hey.
All right. From Denver, Colorado, 5 Minute Walk Records, we have Five Art Frenzy!
Hey, we're supposed to tell you that our new album comes out November 11th. And it's called Our Newest Album Ever. That's what it's called.
You guys, I don't know where you'd driven in from, and I lived in a place, we had no furniture, so you guys were in sleeping bags on the floor in a living room. It was me and a couple other guys who were on Young Life staff, and I left in the morning. We grabbed a bunch of juices and scones and stuff, and then came back and like set up this little like breakfast thing with juice and ice like in the bowl, and then the scones laid out. And I went out and ran a few errands, and about 11 or 11:30 I came back to the house. You guys were just, like, we walk in expecting like you guys to be hanging, and there you like everybody, no one's moved. Everyone's still in sleeping bags across the floor in the living room, and the ice had melted. There's like just like a puddle, and all of the juices sort of floating around in the bowl, and it was 11:30, and we thought, wow, that's rock and roll.
Hi kids, my name is Dennis, and I'm here to let you know some of the inside information about recording studio technology. You'll notice over here the singing hat that you put on. It actually filters all of the sound in the room, like that way.
This is what it's like, basically, singing. Okay, I'm going to explain to you how the mixing process goes here at One Way Studios.
First thing I'd like to show you is this board. They call it a round board.
In this room back here, we place the amps.
Basically what you do is you send all of the recorded noises off of this piece of equipment, and it then goes into a microphone.
The musician stands in that room and makes some sort of noise. That noise travels through some sort of wires into this thing.
Obviously they put mics in front of the instruments and play, and then it goes on the tapes.
Sing like this, or play their horn right at this thing, and then it goes into the microphone.
And then we mix it.
There's a guy and he sits here. He moves some of those knobs. Then CDs come out.
You know, I really liked our newest album ever. There's some, you know, some of that was probably one of the records that we worked the hardest on. The horn section just worked really hard in the studio. Whereas Micah was not the easiest horn line to pull off, and it was earned. But it turned out to be a great track. You know, again, the personalities of the band were evolving at the time too, and learning for them. So again, there's, you know, the studio always came with a little bit of tension and frustration, but that's kind of the recording and creative process.
Scott left the band after he really left the band after the second record. The third one was kind of in the process of him leaving. So the second record, our newest album ever, was our peak with him, and it was a sound that we never really got again.
After recording our second album, we began our fourth tour as a signed band, taking with us our new label mates and an old friend, Joey Belleville and the Echoing Green. Also, a band on Curb Records called The Altered.
You know, in some ways, these guys and gal, I mean, they were closer to me than some of my family, my actual family, my brothers. You know, I mean, I have 5 older brothers, and you know, in some ways, I was closer to the guys in my band than I was to my own family.
1998 was the most successful year that Five Iron ever had. We sold over 130,000 copies of our second album, our newest album ever. We were topping the Christian rock charts. We were making a good showing on the Billboard charts as well. We started the year off in Hawaii, playing 3 shows in Oahu and Kauai, then flying to Boston for a slew of Christian and general market shows, and then our first international show at Briarcrest College near Regina, Saskatchewan. In March, 5 Minute Walk added the W's to their lineup. We began the first of what would become 9 tours with them. It's a good thing we got along so well.
My hand,
You know, for me, there was definitely a legitimacy that I wanted, and I felt like we got by playing those shows. With Christian music, especially then, you know, there was this feeling, at least that I had, that, you know, it was kind of second rate from an artistic standpoint. And aside from that, you know, I liked the bands we were playing with. I was actually a fan of those bands. And, you know, we had cultivated some relationships, like with Less Than Jake, over the years. And so, you know, playing that just, you know, it felt right to me. While it was certainly less lucrative, I was a lot more fulfilled, you know, as an artist, I think, by being a part of that.
What we did was we got this full-size school bus, gutted it, and then took it to this guy to have him put in, make it kind of like, the front of it was kind of like a first-class airplane. You know, I mean, you had captain's chairs, there was plenty of room, and you could recline and stuff like that. And then in the back, we put bunks.
I love the school bus. My bunk was the best because it was the top and it was towards the back, so there was a window. So you could roll down it's a bus, it's a school bus, so you do this with the window. And I could just almost stick my head out, my hair would blow, and, you know, miles and miles and miles of traveling and decorating. I had, you know, glow-in-the-dark stars, and at night I'd light. Now I'm going to cry because I'm emotional. You would miss people when you were gone. And so you just lay there and think about all the people that you miss and kind of want to be home, but you can't. And you'd have pictures of people that you love, and that was your little world.
As a band, it was exciting to be a part of it. It was, you know, obviously a good cause and a lot of great bands that were involved with it. The Blue Meanies, you know, it was a thrill to watch them, you know, every night. I was always a big fan of them. You know, made some great friends on that tour. It was also the tour that, you know, brought about some changes, you know, with me that kind of led to my departure from Five Iron. It was during that tour that, you know, I had kind of a paradigm shift, and in a nutshell, I lost my faith.
They'll think that we're really, really cool, and they'll want to sell our records. So let's practice once with a big boo. Hey, it's Five Iron Frenzy. How about some go-homes? That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, from Denver, Colorado, Five Iron Frenzy. Thank you.
We were going into the studio to record our third album, an EP we jokingly entitled Quantity as Job 1 when Scott gave us the news. He was quitting the band. He would finish recording, and then finish out the year's shows, and then he would help find his replacement.
It was absolutely the right thing for me to leave Five Iron. I've never regretted that or questioned whether or not it was the right thing to do. I felt like if God was there, he was at best indifferent and certainly wasn't anything like the Bible described him to be. Mainly I just didn't believe in Christianity, and I was trying to sort out, kind of what I did believe and didn't believe. I felt like I'd been duped my whole life, and I was kind of pissed about it. And I wasn't really content to just, not believe and let you guys believe what you believe. I mean, it really came out in a lot of ways, and I was picking fights, and there was a lot of debating in the bus. And it became apparent pretty quickly that it wasn't going to work. I didn't believe the things that we were singing about anymore.
Hello? 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 Hey!
One day, one girl army will hope.
Okay,
One
awesome.
more time.
Awesome.
Thanks.
That was bad.
So you want to check those solos?
Yeah, let's check them out. I like the sparseness in this one a lot. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Listen to that. Well, that's pretty cool too. It's really it was really eclectic.
Love it.
Touching it.
Boy, it's a great day outside. Zippity doody da!
Or, all I ask is to be free, or do all streams lead to one sea?
Reese has an idea to do this pants opera, and he puts all the background music together on his little electric keyboard thing or whatever, and he just says, okay, go in the booth and do something about pants.
Come on, people, now! This is the time to unite over the revolution of the pants. Right now is the time. Now, who holds the pants? And whose are these pants? Will we ever find the home for the pants? Come on now, unite under the revolution of the pants. Yes. Rise. Now.
We went straight from the studio to the Freakstock Festival in Goethe, a former East German town. The strange thing was that it was incredibly hot during the day and freezing cold at night as we slept on cots in old East German army tents. It was nothing like the uptight, over-churched American festivals we were used to. Backstage was filled with cases of not just water, but beer and cigarettes. It was a testimony to the fact that the promoters cared far more about the souls in the crowd than the appearance of the bands they had entrusted them to. For 2 weeks following Freakstock, we bought Urel passes, separated, and got some much-needed vacation time in. We met back up at the end of 2 weeks in the town of Zwolle, in the Netherlands, for the Flevo Festival. Late that fall, we joined our friends the Supertones and the Insiders for the Ska-Mania tour. We were sandwiched in between the two other juggernauts of Christian ska by our rank in album sales and popularity. As usual, we bucked the system by refusing to wear suits and ties, opting instead for original Star Trek uniforms. Those in charge were not pleased.
I've been volunteering as a youth director for a church, and I took the youth group to this concert. There was some band from another state, and they were playing. And so usually at a concert, I'd just let the kids go up front. I was in my 30s, I think. I sat back in the back row. All of a sudden, I heard this voice, and it was loud, and it was clear, but I knew it wasn't an audible voice I was hearing with my ears, but it sounded like a voice talking to me like I'm talking to you right now. And it said, someday a band like that will come out of your ministry.
In January, we traveled back to Hawaii, along with the W's and the 5 Minute Walk staff, and their newest recording artist, Justin McRoberts. Then we left Hawaii for a short tour in New Zealand.
Our New Zealand trip, I remember thinking, that's a long time to spend with a bunch of people, especially since I was just going as kind of the tour manager and different things like that, and front of house. We basically, everybody lived together for 4 weeks almost, a week in Hawaii, but really New Zealand 3 weeks, and the people that we met there were really, really amazing. I know that for all of Five Iron, that's probably one of their favorite trips that they ever did.
And I get to know Scott, his lovely wife Stephanie.
Hey, my good friend Keith.
Hi, I'm getting interviewed because I haven't been interviewed enough here in New Zealand.
What the heck's going on, buddy?
We're about to play a show.
And
why don't you just take a step back? Just take a step back. Just go ahead and take another step back. Oh, there's a bench there.
Yeah, the process of finding my replacement, went pretty smoothly. I forget how many people we tried out. I don't know, I guess I felt kind of a responsibility to help get somebody in there. Not that the parts were that hard to play. So I don't know, I guess I felt that I needed to at least partially kind of own that, help with that transition. And I remember it came down to just a couple people. Sonny was the pretty obvious choice. It seemed like he had, he was a good, player for one, but also had the right, attitude and eagerness about it. I don't really think that was a hard call.
I flew out to Denver and I'd never seen or met anyone. And I remember I got lost in the airport for an hour and a half waiting for Dennis because I didn't know what he looked like. I needed to know, I think it was 5 songs. You guys hadn't played together in a month or so, and I was pretty much the only one who knew the songs because I was one of the first guys to audition. And so everybody kept messing up, and I thought it was just me. I thought I didn't know the songs.
That March we left on tour with Switchfoot and our friends from Denver, the Smiley Kids. Their bass player was our old friend, Mark Denny.
Hey! It's not. Wait, find something? That's the paper. Came out of my nose. Are you recording?
Better be on TV.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
That your love is
Hey, you! Shut up! Back up your drums! Back up your drums! Now! Who's drums? Your drum! Your drum, baby!
I drove down to this town that my eventual fiance lived in, Melinda. I love you, Melinda. Please put that in it. Did you free video?
Oh, you're getting it on video.
Happy birthday, Dennis!
Thanks, everyone.
Why do you think I want to have everybody over for dinner?
We heard some of the songs off of Switchfoot's second record, played by John Foreman on his acoustic guitar in that apartment, like a month before the record came out. That was pretty cool.
Stop hugging. You can only hug for a couple seconds. People think funny things. Everybody, give each other a high five right now. High five.
I used to take us on boat rides. In the water by his house. Jacksonville, I guess, has got a lot of waterways, and it was so cool. He had a 3-legged dog. That was like the happiest dog, of course, because it was 3 legs. And we went out at night looking for alligators. That was always really cool.
Let's have a show outside.
Just you wait down.
night, under the stars, outside. Romance is in the air.
Play the song!
This is the greatest.
Look at those stick spins! Look at the spin! Look at the stick spinning! Okay, here it comes! Here it comes!
Tell me about your mustache. It's gonna be a real one tomorrow. Cinco de mustache. Mustaches are why we're here.
Mustache. Mucho mustachios. Mustache.
I think the weirdest thing I ever saw was we were going to Ichthus. It was my first time at Ichthus, Kentucky. Is that where it is? And I was sleeping on the bus, dead sleep. I remember Switchfoot was on the bus with us because they broke down and they rode in with us. And I woke up to all this screaming. And I came outside the bus and I looked out the window and a truck with a bunch of pigs had spilled over. And all these pigs' heads were cut off and there was just pigs everywhere on the freeway. Do you remember that? Yeah, and there was three-legged pigs running around. There's just blood everywhere.
So Reese was engaged to a woman named Christy, and we went on a tour, and Christy went to Mexico for a semester of school, I think. And while she was in Mexico, it was really hard for Reese to communicate with her. And at some point in that tour, Christy kind of just became, I think, emotionally distant from Reese, and without a lot of explanation, she kind of ended the relationship.
I think there were some pretty dark times. I remember talking on the phone to Reese when the band was on tour, and he was just despairing, almost of life itself.
The worst show was after we saw a guy die that was in a car accident. We had seen, I don't know, I think his car was in front of us or behind us, I don't remember, but he had been thrown, the driver had been thrown, and we'd seen the car roll a bit, and the guys in the band ran out and tried to resuscitate him and came back crying. He had a son and a wife that were alive still, and we had to go and play a show.
Well, we were at GMA, there's all this schmoozing going on, and then we find out that the school that Micah's sister goes to is being shot up by a couple of kids.
In about the last 10 minutes, we understand that the shooters and still many students, unfortunately, are probably still inside the school. But this is certainly good news, Tony, to see so many young people be able to get to safety.
I got a phone call from a friend of mine, and she was asking me what school my sister went to, and I was like, well, she goes to Columbine High School, and she was like, well, you should probably call home because there was a pretty terrible shooting there. I called home and to see, what was going on. Got a hold of my mom, and she was, pretty well beside herself. I went to a hotel room. I can't remember whose hotel room it was, but turned on the TV and started watching the whole thing unfold. Kept watching the news, and I was just praying, just that God would, protect my sister. That she was safe, but she was like one of the last groups of kids that got out of the Columbine alive.
And I remember, I have a picture in my head. It's like a videotape, man. I remember Micah finally getting in touch with his sister and him just breaking down crying and saying, I love you so much.
Cornerstone 1999, please welcome 5 Iron Frenzy.
Cornerstone, are you ready? There's one thing I have to say before we play this song, and that is, to hell with the devil!
For some reason, Switchfoot had gone largely unnoticed by the general populace. After taking them out on tour with us twice, and because Cornerstone hadn't asked them to play, we let them play a 5-song set in the middle of our own. It wasn't long until they were more successful than we ever were. It couldn't have happened to a nicer group.
Okay. We need a match. Is tape rolling? Yes. We need a match. Either behind either eyeball for now. These are not my pants.
Oh man, that's poor doggy. How you feeling now? There's no messing up!
That's gonna fall out.
Yeah!
Too much Tabasco.
Dog!
Take a picture of the pup. Inside your puts on fire.
Yeah, Jeff, you saved the day.
Don't mess up. Take a picture.
Right there is where we burn the dog.
Can you tell me what the heck is going on?
Skating. Have you heard about Chaka's new movie? It's a documentary called I Will Get Your Bowels. Jack Kerouac, his were like 11 syllables long.
Hello. I want to be famous. I want to take it back.
Hey!
Patty cake, bake this man. Bake me a cake as fast as you can. Roll it up, pat it up, rock with the beat. Put it in the oven for baby and me. What's up? Hey, how you doing?
You call. I'm in the van in front of you. You called from the bus. You're like, hey,
do you want to be the lead singer of 5 Iron Frenzy for a couple nights? And I think you're totally screwing off. I'm like, sure. End of conversation. And then you're gone. That's the next thing I know. It's like, no. We dropped him off at the airport. He flew home. Somebody died. I was like, oh, he was serious. That was actually the thing that Leonore said walking off the stage after Atlanta. She says it's kind of cool to play a couple shows where the lead singer remembers all the words.
Legal or whatever you want to call it, whatever you kids do these days, I don't know. But please welcome, it's a huge treat for Fort Wayne only, 5 Iron Frenzy!
I don't know. I think that all the hype was we were trying to find ourselves, you know, and that's why that album's just like all over the place. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some good songs on that record.
And then we reinvented ourselves with All the Hype Money Can Buy, and I like that record for a lot of reasons. I think we did a lot of cool stuff. It was really transitional.
What are you doing, Micah?
Listening to a band. Yeah.
That sounds demonic.
That's what they tell me.
I have one song left.
What song are you recording now?
Not Unusual. And then I'm done.
It?
I'm excited to be done.
Are you making the rock?
Yes, of course.
When was the last time you shaved?
Oh, I don't remember.
Around 2000, I think people started to get worn out from touring. They started to have families. They started wanting the band to maybe not take all of their time, especially since we were at a point where the band did not have to take all of our time. We could make a living with only touring, you know, maybe 6 months out of the year instead of 9 months out of the year or whatever.
Mindy and I got married in 2000, in April of 2000. And 2 months later, I went on tour for 3 months.
It was, you know, there was things that were difficult about it, especially, you know, when you're on tour and they're at home, and then you get back from tour and they act like you're invading their space, and they're like, "What are you doing here? I've been happy at home by myself. I missed you, but what are you doing here?"
I moved to San Francisco basically January 1st, 2000. We had a New Year's Eve show, so December 31st, 1999. 5 Minute Walk Records was based in the Bay Area. Five Iron had decided to take a semester's worth of time off of touring so that people could go back to school.
And then I moved to Long Beach, right on the water.
It made it harder, you know, our band started getting really fragmented. We started pursuing life beyond Five Iron gradually. You know, a couple people were married at that point.
The hardest part was I had to fly back and forth all the time, and it wasn't cheap to practice whenever we did practice.
So we all started getting, a lot of us started getting married or pursuing things outside of the band. And I think just in general, it made it harder for the band to do what we wanted to do because we had separate interests, you know. That's when the band started getting really fragmented, and it changed the dynamic probably forever.
When I first joined Five Iron, there was a band house that had the Bible study. And eventually we started to go to Corona Presbyterian because we tried to find churches as a Bible study to plug into, and nothing was working. And Mike Sayers, for whatever reason, was enchanted with us and found out where the band house was and started to come early in the morning and knock on the window and say he was taking everyone to breakfast, and we'd say no, and he'd say he's going to pay, and we'd say yes.
I just couldn't get away from it. I just felt like God was saying, you have to stay with these guys and this Bible study.
And the Bible study began to meet at Corona Presbyterian, and Mike kept pouring into us.
I think the prompt was, if you could create a church where you would feel comfortable and where you'd feel comfortable inviting your friends, what would it look like?
You're the pastor.
I'm the pastor. At Scum of the Earth, you will learn steps to peace with COD.
How you doing? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot about your problems. I'm sorry about that. That's cool. No, I don't go there. I don't do that. No, sorry. You smoke crack. I know. I've heard from your mom. I'll see you later.
In the 5 Minute Walk tradition, they booked a new band and wanted the band to tour with us. I can't think of a worse billing than Soul Junk opening for Five Iron Frenzy. They're an art, hip-hop, indie rock experimental band, and Five Iron Frenzy was a ska core rock band that played to very young people, and it was really an odd pairing, but I ended up playing bass for Soul Junk, and Micah spun and DJ'd, and Andy drummed. We all did well, but it turned into kind of a hybrid between Soul Junk and Five Iron Frenzy.
So we stayed in a hotel in, I think it was like a Motel 4, that's how bad it was. It wasn't even a 6, in Alabama. No offense. Was it Keith always slept on the floor? He'd always volunteer to sleep on the floor. And so we'd always kind of fight of, no, Keith, you're gonna sleep on the bed, I'll sleep on the floor. And so I chose that day to sleep on the floor. I think I found out in the morning because it was so dark that we just crawled in and just went to bed. There was fingernails everywhere on the floor. There was a bullet. There was vomit. There was boogers on the wall, like somebody would pick their nose and it was a booger wall. food everywhere, and it was just sticky. And then from that point on, I always got a bed.
I remember that going to South Africa was amazing. It was really fun, but it was also really difficult because it was the first time we left from the middle of a tour, flew to, like, we'd been on tour for like 3 weeks, flew out of like Manchester, New Hampshire or something like that. I don't remember.
It is right now 4:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The problem is there's no ticket agents. What's going on, Keith?
It's early.
And what city are we in?
Cleveland?
And it's named after?
Cleavage?
I'm tired. Not that close.
Oh.
There. Okay.
Honey. Playing guitar?
No,
the string.
Can't you see? String. Listen. There's a microphone.
I am Tony.
That's the juice.
I'm not really Tony. That's the funny thing about it.
I'm going to be doing some stunt work here in the Cleveland airport. It's I don't have a name for it yet. I'm okay. Okay, you ready? Are we in customs?
Yes.
So you on?
I have an admission to make. You're the pimpinest mofo.
This is Henry,
We gave birth to.
a bouncing baby board.
It's the first skateboard to be worn by a man. Sometimes he beats him.
This is what I look like after I've been traveling for like 36 hours.
Beautiful.
Kind of tired. I slept for about 6 hours maybe for 2 nights.
That's enough of that.
No comment. We're in Africa. We're in Africa.
Oh, there you go.
There they go. There they go. What the is that?
Everybody be cool.
One, almost I won't say last question, but like one I've always been dying to ask. Why the thing about Canada? Just out of curiosity, the "Yo Canada" song. I mean, for us, it's just another country. For you guys, it's just another state.
You guys look happy though. You gotta look disgusting.
Okay, let's do this one. Be like, Yankee go home! Yankee go home! Yankee go home! Yankee go home! Yankee go home!
We traveled over 500 kilometers to the township of Putere Java, on the outskirts of the Kwakwa Nature Preserve near the country of Lesotho. We were to play a free show for the people of the township, and then our hosts were planning on showing the Jesus film. It never showed up. Instead, we spent the day in the burned-out yard of the community auditorium, playing with orphans until dusk when we played our show. For me, it was the best day that I ever remember being in 5 Iron Frenzy.
Hello!
We're nice at one point, but they're all falling apart. Holes in the ceiling and stuff.
This is where we're playing tonight.
There's the sky. All the doors are made out of teak. Belfry.
Playing there was really cool because people would assume that they were going to hate you when they first saw you because they thought you were South African. And then when they'd say American or someone would say American, everyone would go get their family and friends and come say hi and sit down in your lap and play with your hair. And like, they all wanted to come to the free show. And we had tons of kids on us and it was awesome.
There was no recording of this show. Only this bad tape of a muted version of our sound check. I don't think it really matters. What was amazing about that day to me was that it seemed that no one cared so much about the music as they just did that we were there. Our show lasted all of about an hour and 15 minutes, but we had gotten there at somewhere around 8 in the morning and spent the entire day playing with orphan children and meeting the people of the township. All of the trappings, all of the barriers I had experienced from being in a band and trying to share the love of Jesus Christ had disappeared. I'm not sure if the people there even remember us, but I remember them.
You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship you.
Flew out, went to South Africa, was in South Africa for a couple weeks or whatever, flew back to Ohio, and then played a show the next day. So we're jet lagged. We've been on the road for, month at least, probably 6 weeks. And all we wanted to do was go home and go to bed after traveling to South Africa. And we had another 2 weeks or something that we had to be on tour. It was hard.
Touring for that long, as I was talking to you earlier, like you just kind of start losing meaningful relationships, because you're never home. And so I think we all really wanted that.
There you go.
About time.
I think Barbie was the absolute success here.
I can't believe you wanted to ignite inflatable Tony the Tiger. They wouldn't burn very well.
These are in the way. I can't see his face.
Our work here is done.
What have we done?
Burned lots of cute things.
Early on, we would try to tour through the festivals, which was really awkward. Festival circuit is meant for flyouts, but that usually means a band isn't in top form, especially 5 Iron Frenzy. If we weren't playing a lot, we were definitely not in top form. So I think that was one of the frustrating things towards the end, is that we played a lot of shows not in top form. And we were embarrassed about it, and we definitely felt like we were compromising. So I think in a lot of ways the festival circuit was that way.
I have a lot of fun on stage. A lot of fun, dude. Ask this guy.
You have a headache, Brad?
I have a throbbing headache.
Listen to him whine.
I need some aspirin.
So we'd gotten to a point where we, on the Christian concert circuit, which includes, Christian festivals, there were Christian clubs that would have only Christian entertainment, and then there were also regular, clubs that had promoters that specialized in bringing Christian entertainment to those venues. If we wanted to go into, a regular club that just had an all ages show, it wasn't harder for us to get that, but it just paid less. And so 5 Minute Walk didn't book a lot of shows like that for us, and the band wanted to play some. At least 3 times we did West Coast tours where we would play only clubs and with non-Christian opening bands, local non-Christian opening bands, and promoted to, in the way a normal show, not a normal show, in the way, well sure, a normal show, in the way a normal show was promoted instead of a Christian show.
I had a younger brother named Carlos Arturo Ortega, and he was 3.5 years younger than me. And one day we were on tour, I was asleep, and we got a phone call that basically said that my brother had passed away. He had been in a car accident. He'd been driving down a mountain and not made a turn. That is the place where I think my faith became real, because I had to look at God and say, I'm going to choose now to hate you or not hate you. If I hadn't been hanging out with God as much as I had, I think I would have hated him. But because I'd been hanging out with him, I knew that he was good. I knew his character. And I physically felt him hug me, and I feel like I saw Jesus crying and say, I'm not doing this to you, I'm mourning with you.
Is there a place that we can ditch our gear and stuff, or should we just find a big lockers here? And put
If we could find our friend Mark again, then he let us store it at his house last time at Dime Store.
Wie Humor. Sie versuchen immer so eine Balance zu halten zwischen beiden Sachen. Oder man sollte.
Take joy, my King, in what you hear. Let it be a sweet, sweet sound.
That's when I recognized, okay, I really do. I do believe the things that I say. I must believe in God and believe that God is good and Jesus is real, because if I didn't, this would be the perfect time to stop believing and be angry. Shows from then were totally different. Everything was totally different, because I had, believe it or not, I had this feeling that I had to live for both of us, that I had to live really well and really enjoy life and dance more and go on more roller coaster rides and hug more people and pour myself into the recordings. All of that, it came after my brother passed away, because life is good and it's short and it's so fast.
My name is Reese Roper, and about to give myself a mullet. Mid-mullet shot. Short on sides and top, which is required. We fly to Juneau. We land in Juneau at like 3 in the afternoon on Friday. We play for tomorrow night. So we land at 3, go straight to the venue, play. Okay? Next night, Saturday, we play in the same venue. Both shows are free.
Wow. Is this for the long form video?
Yes.
Is that what this is for, you creepy guy?
Alaska was probably one of my favorite shows as well, when we got to fly around in the helicopters.
Release, cloth tab to tape. Everybody's got headsets in the back. Looks like they're plugged in.
Flash Gordon soundtrack. I was in second grade. My first real record, yeah. Worn down, it played and played. Young and blind, my double mind. When the world was black and white, watch me turn my back tonight on Freddie Mercury. Mr. Fahrenheit, yeah.
2 nights in a row, and the second night was on TV, and we had to stop in the middle of a song because we all got lost. It was Sucker Punch, I remember that. Do you remember? So it was on their local TV. Yep. Easter Day, wasn't it? Yeah.
We went to Puerto Rico. We saw all kinds of crazy stuff. And then the shows, we played outdoors. Tourniquet played. That's all I remember about the show.
I like Puerto Rico, oh my god.
It's pretty. We know that because our drive down here, it was pretty.
I'm understanding some of the words in Spanish, and I walked through a monsoon area of water about this deep, in which I got very wet. I'm looking forward to the show and meeting more people.
The sky. Strong tint. That's just a few of my ideas.
That was good.
Sweat.
It's true.
Just so they can come back.
We're a team, people.
We're a team now. We're learning to love each other.
Before we hated each other.
No, the title of the album is called 5 Iron Frenzy 2 Electric Boogaloo. And to answer your question more seriously, I think that it's going to be our most rock record that we've ever done so far. I think there's going to be less ska. But when I say that, people always kind of freak out. I think it's important to emphasize that doesn't mean there's going to be less horns. There's still horns all over the album.
Now introducing 5 Iron Frenzy.
2. Oh, and 2, 3 with the watermelon.
You might want to put that watermelon in the box, huh? Are you going to take that with you on board the plane?
Is that alright?
Please do. Because I'm not checking that in.
Annie, maybe you better go get the watermelon. Look, they even labeled it watermelon. We were practicing for the electric youth tour with Reliant K, and I remember sitting outside Micah's house, because that's where we were practicing at the time, and just thinking, my dad was in the hospital, just thinking, man, I hope he's going to be all right. And then this wind blew, and Micah had these trees with these little tiny leaves on them, and when they would shimmer in the sunlight, it was like almost like silver looking. And I heard this voice saying, everything's going to be okay. And I was like, okay. So I went downstairs and I continued to practice. And at the end of practice, I had a message on my voicemail. I remember running in there and yelling, Dad, I love you. And it was too late. He was gone. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to know that, I knew that he loved me, but he never said it.
To begin or end tours, usually we had to drive from one coast to Denver or from Denver to a coast. So this tour started out with us driving out to the East Coast. And we'd been driving throughout the night, and my shift started at, 3 in the morning or something like that. And so I'd been driving for a few hours.
I was asleep on the bus. Most everybody was asleep. I think Micah was the one driving.
And I got a phone call from my dad. He said, he asked me if I'd been watching the news or whatever, and I'm like, no, And he's like, you need to turn on the news. And so I turned on the news.
We'd stopped at a truck stop, and we saw it on the news, on the TV in there, and we weren't sure if we were gonna keep going to New York for our first show when this was happening.
Then all of our cell phones started ringing, and our parents were panicked, saying, "Aren't you on your way to New York? Are you there?" And we decided we were gonna go, and it was really weird seeing signs, New York 100 miles, New York 50 miles, New York 30 miles, and then eventually seeing smoke.
I remember we drove by that night coming into New York, and we just saw the smoke coming up. It was like 2 in the morning still. And I remember we stayed at someone's house in Fishkill, which was I think it's like 40 miles maybe from there.
We would at least be able to practice for our tour and maybe start the tour, days later or a week later or whatever, whenever we felt like we could or where we could.
And we woke up to a big explosion, and I just remember Keith jumping up and screaming and swearing. But he jumped up screaming, and he thought another plane had hit, and so did I, but it was just lightning.
By the time the show was scheduled, it was far enough, after it that people were ready to be able to have something else there that they could enjoy, that they could kind of distract them from. And when we played, we really saw that. I met one of the guys that was going to Ground Zero the next day, and he was so thankful for us to be there.
It was weird staying at the little house next to the church and going to the church meetings where people would say, well, my uncle hasn't come home yet.
And we saw that, for the next few nights or so in that area, a lot of people directly affected, family members, people that were going down there to help. Fiverr and Frenzy doesn't seem like something that we could, why were we there? why were we at that place at that time?
And then, shortly after in September, that was my dad dying, and then shortly after September 11th, those two events were the biggest two events as far as my faith are concerned. I had been reading all types of apologetic books and stuff like that about Christianity and why it's the truth and why you should believe it. I was really trying really hard to convince myself that I believed it. As soon as September 11th happened, and that whole Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson, both of those dweebs, were saying that, oh, this is because of homosexuality and abortion and all of that. I was just like, I can't get on board with this, man. If this is what it is, then I can't be on board with it.
My favorite Five Iron album is Five Iron Frenzy 2 Electric Boogaloo.
At this very moment, I'd probably lean towards Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
I think that record's really solid. I like it a lot.
And it's because it is the most raw, sad, honest, disappointed look at our lives.
At that point, we had shaken off the fact that Scott had left. And we had created a new identity as a band.
Probably one of my favorite songs for some reason that just really connected with me was Farsighted. I love the guitar work that was done in it. I thought it was really interesting. I love the lyric, I love the metaphor, and I love the melody, and just how that kind of, like the chorus of that song just came together last second. Like, oh, why don't we just try this, because it wasn't actually in there at the time. And it just turned out great.
We reinvented ourselves, and we did what we wanted to with that record, and it's really good.
That album, I just feel musically we were on top of it. It was awesome. It's something I would listen to. And also lyrically, the song Eulogy really, really is something powerful to me. I just listen to it over and over, and there's a beauty to the horn lines, but there's also rawness in some of the guitar parts. I love that. I have really enjoyed the trip so far. For the first 5 hours I slept, then I listened to Black Ocean, then I listened to System of a Down, and now I'm trying to make myself look like Pat Benatar.
I'm happy! Happy! I'm happy! I'm happy! I'm happy! I'm happy, 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 happy!
Got a horrible air conditioner. Well, not bad, but we need another one. And I wet my bed.
Look how happy I am! Happy, 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 happy!
Pass.
Sorry. I don't know. Tell me some bullcrap story about being in Five Iron Frenzy. I don't know any. I don't. No.
melon. And so I can eat healthy. Come, let's see what delectables we have.
Bye-bye, Randy.
It was poetry, dude. Hey Keith, are you hyped? Look at me, I'm so hyped.
Come here!
No!
You touching my bathing suit area!
Alright. Did you get that
What's up, Bill?
Not much.
We have the same camera. We have the same lens, same camera.
Oh wait, I can see inside your camera.
I messed him up real bad last night. That song, this one right here that goes like this.
No, not Mason.
This is the part I messed up right here.
Yeah, but...
And then it goes to F sharp, it doesn't go to D.
Watch UHF to get problems with the line.
I just watched it.
Did you?
Oh, you peed your pants!
Really rad, good job.
Our drummer slapped my leg.
Just one slap and that was
Yeah, you
it?
can see his fingers.
It's like a pizza slice.
But
man.
it was over a week ago.
In June, it was back to the summer tour circuit. We played all the usual Christian festivals with the standard amount of zeal and Elvis costumes.
To all the far-sighted, the sky has never been so clear. Hello to the hopeful, goodbye to the full of fear. Glorious, luminous, the heavens are painted.
In July, Dennis married his longtime fiancée Melinda in downtown New York City. Our friend sang from the Insiders agreed to fill in on trombone while he was on his honeymoon.
I missed like 9 shows of the Warped Tour so I could go on a honeymoon, which was a good decision, a hard decision, but a good one. When I came back, it didn't seem like the band was doing so well. So maybe it was a good thing that I missed the Warped Tour.
I wasn't awake for a lot of the Warped Tour because Warped Tour works so that it's really designed to be for bands who can be on a tour bus so that they can play their show, get on their bus, go to sleep, and wake up at the next spot. And I made a deal with the band that I would do the driving all night, every night, as long as I didn't have to run merchandise or do anything else, basically. I would drive all night, play the show, and I would sleep all day. And then I'd get up, I set my alarm for 6 p.m. or whatever, get up, drive all night. We would roll into the next Warped Tour place at, 4 in the morning or whatever. I'd sleep until 7 a.m. I'd get up, I'd find out what time we were playing, go back to bed, wake up at 11, wake everybody else up. We'd try hard to find showers, which weren't always easy to find on Warped Tour, and get some food, and then we'd play our show, and then I'd go right back to bed and wake up at 6 o'clock and start driving.
No, 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 no. No.
There's such a contrast. I guess what I'm saying is there's such a contrast for us playing a Christian show and a non-Christian show. We didn't make any money playing non-Christian shows because there's 10 zillion bands trying to compete in that market, and you know, and Christian kids just supported us. Like, we got so much love in the church. So, but we really wanted to reach kids that weren't in the church. So we made this decision to do a church tour and make tons of money. And then, as long as we went out and played a totally non-church tour for street cred. And so I think the Warped Tour, it was our street cred elective, and it gave us a ton of street cred, but it also wore the band out pretty bad.
Five Iron breaking up was like rain from a clear blue sky. I mean, I don't think anybody saw it coming.
We went on a retreat, which we did every year. We'd get together with our band pastor and talk about what the next year's going to look like. And I just remember it seemed like slowly we were all starting to check out before the demise.
The rumblings were mainly dissatisfaction with, I think, the distribution channels, always in the Christian bookstores, always in the Christian subculture, not really making it out into the mainstream. There was this restlessness, like we need to go to the next level.
We were slowly playing less and less shows, and it became a part-time thing.
I think the first note of real departure, of dissatisfaction, came loud and clear from one of the band members. Like, this isn't working, and I don't know if I want to keep going this way.
It was a pooper get off the pot type situation. Some of us wanted to go full time, some of us wanted to slow down or remain the same.
It was where it was not really being angry at each other, it was like, is this still working? And it seemed like, no, we're not, but we love each other.
It was really calculated, but we were just like, we could either pursue this vigorously and try to do something more, or do what we have been doing, or quit. And we all decided to quit. And it was pretty much a unanimous decision.
We made a plan to do a last record, and basically 2 last tours. It was the summer festival tour and then the actual final farewell tour.
I think as it goes, it's a pretty graceful departure. We weren't in debt. We were friends. As breakups go, it was pretty graceful, I think.
I think that, slowly we were all individually getting married, and we wanted to spend more time with our wives, and I think we just all felt that God was calling us. We had done what we were supposed to do, and that was it.
Like, the worst memories, the worst things honestly, bad feelings that I remember from the band were just days where there's nothing you could do about it. It was like I had the flu, and you're closed off in the school bus trying to sleep off this flu, and you're just you can't do anything just because you feel awful. but you're on tour, you're in the middle of wherever, and you're eating their food that they're providing, and you gotta try to get better. And I wanted to play because it's just part of the band is that we played through anything, almost anything, and we would do anything to keep from missing a show. And we killed ourselves to keep from missing a show.
Jesus of Nazareth is the full title of that record. It is a collection of B-sides and demos, songs that we made up on the spot as we were going along. We recorded it primarily in my bedroom and Reese's bedroom. We were living together in the basement of the house that was owned by Dennis at the time. I paid slightly more rent than Reese, which meant I got a huge bedroom, where Reese, who paid like $20 less than me, lived in the hall, like in an alcove. He didn't have a door he could close. He had no privacy at all. But you know, he saved $25 a month.
You guys ready for this process again?
I love this story, man.
It's funny because the way we worked is that music and lyrics came separately, so it was kind of alchemy in a way that I would write just music, having no idea what the words would be. I have an idea, and sometimes we'd talk about that idea, but most of the time you had something that you were journaling about or writing about, and if you felt like it fit with one of the song ideas, you'd throw it on there.
Oh, that's not attractive. With the cream corn piñatas, I don't know when we got the idea, but I remember it was Michelle Hendricks, our good friend. We called her and said, go to Denver Piñata Store in Federal and buy 6 huge life-size ones. So of course, here she drives to Bushnell, Illinois with all of these piñatas in the back of her car. We filled some with candy, we filled some with cream corn and pork and beans. And we didn't tell the crowd what they had. So some got jackpots and some were just greedy and got nasty.
I will never forget the end of Cornerstone in 2003 when they were just yelling, thank you. That's pretty awesome.
What's up, Cornerstone? You guys want to hear I can't talk. Anybody want to hear some hip hop? All right. Let's hear that beat. Grumpity. It's a hip hop song from way back in the day. Young girls hide
For the last tour, me and my wife moved out of our apartment and we moved everything into storage, and we hit the road for those 2 or 3 months. And we had a really cool bus that had rat duty under everybody's bunk, and we lifted up our mats because we kept smelling urine, and there was rat pee and mold and boogers. Oh no, the booger bus was your bunk.
Hi, Jerry.
Get all that in?
I don't think I can fit it all. Whoa. There's Frank, our boss, talking to the sound guy or whatever.
I've been breaking my back, yeah, only to show you how very lost one can be. And bitterness fires through me, and brilliance that was his flickering cold, slowly burning to ash. I'm choking on pride, I'm closing my eyes to one day I'm scared to go back. You are the shadows, light of the world, destroy the blindness, peace eternal. Take this broken heart if it brings you praise. Take this beaten soul, shivering hands I will raise. Hope unstoppable, sing the morning sun. Wake up, oh sleeper, the daylight has come. You are invincible. You unbreakable. This broken heart, if it brings you praise, take this beaten soul, shivering hands I will raise. Hope unstoppable, sing the morning sun. Wake up, oh sleeper, the daylight has come. You are invincible. You been breaking my back, yeah, only to show you how very lost one can be.
We were really sick. It was really emotional, and there was so much pressure to like live the pinnacle of our experience in one night, and everybody that was important in our story was there. And how can you possibly give the time that one person deserves when they're all there in one room?
The last show was amazing, and I'm glad it was captured on tape.
We sold out the Fillmore 3 months in advance, and people were there from like Australia and England and stuff like that. I mean, how could that not be your favorite show?
The last show, of course, it was amazing and very emotional.
My favorite show is the last show with Firelight, because that was all of 4,000 of my closest friends and fans and family.
The last show was very special. I don't cry much, but I cried during that show. It was really, really, for those of you guys who were there, you know what I'm talking about.
And that was so much fun. And it was a blizzard outside. It was like, you know, wind chill was like 20 below. Kids were like camping out in that stuff, man. It was crazy.
For us, it was also the culmination of being 11 weeks on the road, being tired, and just having this happen, this beautiful show. That really was probably one of my favorite moments.
And also one of the places in Denver with the most amazing sound that I used to go and see Fugazi and Mighty Mighty Boss Tones at, and see all those people worshiping with us.
Denver, Colorado, the end is here. Please welcome to the stage for the very last time, 5 Iron Frenzy. Sources would agree that the day of their death was a cold, dark day. Scuttled ships that block the sea, and the pallid light of morning melts into an ashy gray. And goodbye to everything, sayonara everyone. They are tired.
I didn't know how unique and good a thing it was to like your community of people as a band and the way you treated the folks directly around you.
When people have asked me over my career, you know, who are some of your favorite people that you worked with? For me, the first band, I mean, it's not even an issue.
It made being a nerd okay.
You know, we have that one person come up to us every night that's like, your band, your music, your message changed my life.
I was watching kids go to a concert and talk about God and get excited about it, and it wasn't what their parents did. So they're actually rebelling by being Christians.
Certainly the last show, you know, really kind of hit me again, just like how far-reaching, you know, the impact was.
There were a couple bands that, like, there was a point in time that they would open for us that just wouldn't, by the end of 5 Iron, that wasn't the case anymore. They were much bigger than us.
It made showing up to a show with a soccer ball cut in half and wearing it as a hat, it made that okay.
You know, seeing people fly from all over the place and, you know, sell out, you know, fairly large venue in a short time, and, you know, just hearing people talk, you know, as I was in the audience, you know, about how the band had, you know, impacted them. You know, it's pretty remarkable.
Everything we did was not fulfilling for ourselves, which it could have very easily been. We could have easily sold out and changed things, especially with the times and the ska wave explosion. We could have left the name of Jesus out of every song and just got huge, basically. And we never sold out, so the legacy, I think, would be that we should be remembered by is that we always tried to do things not for ourselves, but to serve God.
I got married to a wonderful woman, a wonderful, beautiful woman who I love, and her name is Erin. We got a dog, we bought a house, like typical married things. I finished school. I've got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering technology. I work in the hardware laboratory of the engineering department of a company that makes consumer electronics. I don't really feel like saying their name. For fun, I do typical things that people do for fun. I hang out with my wife, we go and play disc golf, we watch movies. We're in a band together with, it's 4 really, really good musicians and myself.
I'm super happily married to Melinda, and We have a great life. We got 2 kids. Copeland's 5. He loves to play drums. He's actually a great drummer. And Honesty she's 3, my daughter, and she's everything I would hope for in a daughter. She's just amazing. We live in a little town in New Jersey, and it's like a little small country town, kind of like Mayberry, but it's cool because it's really easy to step on a train and get to New York City. So we live a cosmopolitan life, you know, close to a big city, but then we can go home to a small town and sit by the fire. I work with this guy, Glenn, from the band Soul Junk, and we have a music publishing and composition and licensing company called Singing Serpent. And I've been doing that for almost 10 years now. So I started it before the band ended. And I'm really involved in a church here. I lead worship right now, and it's a pretty full life.
I got married to a guy named Steve Miles Till that I met when I was in 5 Hour, and I met him at Scum of the Earth, actually. And now we have a little 3.5-year-old son, Eliseo, and we have a little girl who just turned 2. And yeah, they keep me very excited. I also play in bands and play music when I can, and go to shows, and life is exciting. Hanging out with, talking, even reminiscing is exciting to me, actually. This DVD coming out is one of the most exciting things that's happened in a long time. Scum is a community of people that are trying to find out what it means authentically to live Christ-like. I'm now licensed as a pastor, and I do women's ministry. I mentor, teach, sometimes preach. And I'm 33 now, and I still play. I'm in a crazy marching band here in Denver that plays hit tunes.
What I do now is I work for a cable company. I install video, internet, and phone service for a cable company. My wife and I have been married 10 years. 10 years this April. And we have a 16-month-old son. His name's Charlie. He's everything to me. Cheese! Can you say cheese? Yeah!
I've been married for 8 years, and I have a 5-year-old girl named Isabel, and a little boy who turns 1 next week named Evan. I work at a hospital in LA. I put people on ventilators when they can't breathe. Put a tube down their throat into their lungs, and I hook them up to a machine, and I save their lives. That is called respiratory therapy. I play worship at my church in Hollywood called Reality LA, and I've been doing that for about 3 years. And we just did a mission trip to Russia last year. I've been married 8 years to my beautiful wife Claudia, and she's the love of my life and will always be. Mwah.
I've always kind of been like interested in like sound kind of stuff. After the band, the extension of that was getting into live production. So I'm a sound guy now. I do sound for what I call rich people's parties or weddings and corporate events. We got married in January, and so we were married a year before the band ended. And she went on the last tour with us, which was awesome. Probably the best match of any person that I can think of. She's totally like my best friend, but that's even an understatement, I guess, because I've had a lot of best friends, and I guess the prefix of best should mean something, but it doesn't anymore. So I'm going to say that she's my bestest friend.
Yellow Second is kind of an on-again, off-again project. Don't have any kind of aspirations for making a living at it anymore. I have a job I care about. I have 2 kids that I can't imagine being away for even a short tour's length. I still write and record and occasionally perform around Denver. And music still means a great deal to me. I'm very passionate about it, and I plan to continue to do that. But I write songs for me, and that's enough.
I'm married to my wife, Mijan. We're going on our 10-year anniversary this year. 10 years. We have a daughter that's about to turn 2, Kylie. She turns 2 this month. And our son, Jaden, just turned 5. I do home theater installs for Geek Squad. And I really enjoy it. I like it a lot. I got kids, so I have no hobbies. They take up all the time. My son's getting pretty good at Guitar Hero too. It's so funny, like we just got the Beatles one, and now my son's like singing the songs around the house and stuff, like singing Yellow Submarine and like all this stuff, and I'm like, that's pretty awesome. I'm okay with that.
And I have spent a lot of time on and off these last 6 years in this small room, editing this DVD. I married my lovely wife Amy back in 2004. She's the best part of the world to me. She's also a flight attendant, so we get to travel a bit. Here's us in Croatia. I went back to school to become a registered nurse. It reminds me of that time in South Africa, where with each waking moment, I am desperately in need of God's mercy and love just to make it through the day. This is the best job I have ever had. Oh, and one more thing.
My favorite song is Every New Day.
Of course, Every New Day.
Definitely Every New Day, obviously, from just the worship at the end of the set was always the best.
I'd have to say that Every New Day is still my favorite for a few different reasons.
I do believe that song has a ministry of its own. Even just the other day, I've been talking with a guy who's going through a divorce that he doesn't want to go through, and he has 2 kids. And he texted me some of the words to Every New Day and said that he's been listening to it about 100 times a day as he goes through this.
And I think it was a rare instance where the mood of the music kind of matched the mood of the lyrics.
And I think there's something to be said for the honesty, but also it's really hard to explain, but I think that God blessed us to give us that song.
I don't know, the way the whole song builds, it just follows the the feeling of the lyrics, quite well, and the coda at the end, I think, is really moving.
It speaks to me every time. I never played it without meaning it, and I never listened to it without thinking about it. It's sacred to me.
There is one song, written on a torn piece of paper during the last minutes of a fading day. One point at the end of every show, one song that broke down every barrier between crowd and band. Something supernatural I cannot quite define, because at that same point, every single time we played it, there was no crowd. There were no fans, no musicians, only us, together. Maybe it was life, or that moment in time, or that part of the day, or the end of that show, or tour, or year. But that song somehow could carve all the hopeless darkness out of any of us. It never failed. And as the music swelled behind us, we all knew that we were part of something far greater than ourselves, and every new day really was new.
Before eternity happiness I could reach was not so high, and I thought the world was so much smaller, feeling I could fly through distant deeps and skies, beyond infinity, below the face of heaven. He seems to create me. Dear Father, I need you. You'll save my heart to mend. I want to fly higher every new day again. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are never alone. Man versus himself. Man versus machine. Man versus the world. Mankind versus me. The struggles go on. The wisdom I lack. The burdens keep piling up on my back. So hard to breathe. To take the next step. The mountain is high. I wait in the depths. Yearning for Christ and holding my peace. There, God in grace. The end of God have mercy on our run. Clean souls once again. Jesus Christ, light up the world, burning bright. We've been in our hearts for you wait till it's unfurled, it'll go down in history. Are you crawling through the dismal gray of nothing? Frostbite kills. Does this world make light of weaving? Sides to bury graves of powder still. What made the human mind dark enough to kill? A new hope. When it's freedom, a new hope. Cast off your burden. The sinner just like me. And Judas was a hypocrite, and Paul the Pharisee. Where truth can be so distant, and hope evades our reach. Peter swam across the water and found it on the beach. Dreamers, hello to the in-between. Behold all you've wished for, promising things unseen. Glorious, luminous. Close like nothing, I can't fail. No blistered hands, no broken nails. Killing time, I'm paralyzed with faded dreams and hollow eyes. I've been waiting for a revelation, for a moment of clarity. Conflicts and convolutions ricochet inside of me. There comes the time for throwing caution to the wind. I feel the falling. We flew over Alaska. We saw the frozen mountains pierce the clouds. It was beautiful. We felt the waves in New Zealand, water shimmered beneath the moonlight shroud. It was beautiful. Close to home in an ordinary room, we felt you there. It's my favorite memory. You're so beautiful. The spring in Appalachia, with flowers swaying above the fields of green. It was beautiful. Driving in New England, road littered with bright October leaves. It was beautiful. Close to home in an ordinary room, we felt you there. It's my favorite memory. You're so beautiful to me. Thanks for the songs, these 7 friends, and 8 good years. It is you that made them sweet. It was beautiful. Pictures looking back, just snapshots of the past cannot compare to feeling what we felt through anything that came, that you were there. Thousand smiling faces, backlit and bouncing to the